Kia ora. I've been reading The Flowers of Evil by Charles Baudelaire, and it's pretty good. This is a recent translation by Nathan Brown. So it's got the original French version of the text on the right hand side, and on the left hand side, it has the translation, and the translation is pretty good. I can read a little bit of French, so I can have a glance to see what the differences are. I would say this translation, from what it claims in the accolades, in the quotes at the front, and also in the introduction, is it claims to try to capture the meaning, but not capture the rhyming scheme or the Alexandrine form that's used in the French. And it doesn't try to imitate that in, say, iambic pentameter, which is different from other translations. But and it also tries to preserve punctuation as it's used in the original Les Fleurs de Mal. I would say this is a good translation. I've been really enjoying it. I've been enjoying flicking between the French version and the English version, but Charles Baudelaire uses quite a lot of flowery French language that I don't know, but it is useful seeing the comparison. And the other thing is, every line in the original French is translated in the same place. So there isn't like an expansion of content, which can sometimes happen in translations where the original is compact, but the translation is quite a lot more bloated, trying to capture all of the meaning. It is quite a good book to read the introduction, because the introduction goes into a lot of detail about a lot of the specific points that's used in this translation. And also, The Flowers of Evil is just like a really, it kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's sort of like the original kind of scene kid book, where it's like, oh, it's so edgy, so evil, but then everything's so beautiful as well. It's got that juxtaposition, but it does it in a really like elegant, poetic way. And yeah, you can definitely tell that there's like a type of person who would be attracted to this, not necessarily this translation, but Les Fleurs de Mal. But yeah, it's just good poetry, and it plays with a lot of kind of macabre but also beautiful things. And some of the poems are just good poems. Like, you know, it doesn't have to be diabolical or flowery. Sometimes they're just about sort of random things using Charles Baudelaire's language. The other thing to note is how I first heard of The Flowers of Evil was by the anime Aku no Hana, also known as The Flowers of Evil in English. That is, the anime is somewhat cursed, but it is an interesting artifact that exists. I'm not going to try to explain too much about it, but the manga was written by Shuzo Oshimi, and he took the name The Flowers of Evil for one of his popular series, but the manga and anime are very, very different from this. And if you end up reading The Flowers of Evil because of the manga and anime, then good on you. Like, I think that's a good outcome for that. But just know that the content of these is very different, and also some of these poems were banned in France when they were released in the 19th century, and were only unbanned in France sort of in the 40s and 50s of the 20th century. It's only a handful of them, maybe like 6 or 7 poems, but still. The ones that are banned or were banned are not actually that shocking to a modern viewer, but they would have been pretty shocking to someone in the 19th century. And there's a lot of themes of sensuality and themes of women and of I don't know, various things. Charles Baudelaire may have been a bit of a hedonist, but I don't know if that's mischaracterizing him. Maybe that's just more of a perception that people have after reading The Flowers of Evil than actually what the poet was like in person. But yeah, The Flowers of Evil, it's pretty good. That's what I've currently been reading. I'm pretty far through. I finished Spleen and Ideals, and I'm on to the one before the wine. It's not called The One Before the Wine. I think there's like a collection of poems in here that's called The Wine, and then there's one collection that's before that has a bunch of dedications to Victor Hugo. So yeah, Flowers of Evil, pretty good. Probably report back when I finish it, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.